Hey everyone, this is our 6th annual Beginning Again retreat. Every October, we gather to receive support after our caregiving experience has ended. And I am going to start us off today with, I thought, what might be helpful on a Saturday morning. So, those who are joining us live are here on a Saturday morning, and I thought we could do some reflecting to start off our morning. And I like to doodle and write. And I want to say doodling as a non-artist. I am not an artist. And you will see that when I show you my doodles. So just a little bit of background about me. I started helping my dad in 2004. He died in July of 2023. My brother died unexpectedly in August of 2001. And then my mom died a year to the day later. His wife, my brother's widow, died in July of 2024. And I think you'll relate to this idea that, that's so intense when we've been caring for someone and then they die. And I often have struggled with trying to figure that all out. It feels like something happened. I've lost the words to describe it. And I really want to release the worries around where they are now. And what has been helpful for me is to imagine where they are now because I spent so much time with them. I knew where they were and how they were when they were here on earth. And now that they are gone, I just can't think or imagine what it's like for them. And in particular, the question that I often fall back on is, how loved are they? So in life, I could see how loved they were, but after death, I can't see it. And I thought, I'm going to doodle it. So this is a doodle that I did, and you can see I'm not an artist. This is a doodle I did after my brother, my mom, and my dad died. So this was 2 years ago. And I like to start with a number or a letter, which is how Zentangling starts. So if you are a doodler, you might have Zentangled. And if you're interested in doodling as a coping release, you could look up Zentangling to learn a little bit more about it. With Zentangling, you start with a letter or a number typically, and then doodle out from there. And as I'm talking, if you feel like you've got a doodle that's just ready to come out, start drawing. You are welcome to start drawing. So this is a doodle of my mom and my dad and my brother on a cloud. Those are clouds. And they are represented by a heart. And they each have a different color. And so this is what I think about as life after death, which could be heaven. And everybody is floating on a cloud, and they are floating on a cloud as love. And you could see that I really was focused on surrounding them with love, because again, my question was, how loved are they? And it felt better if I drew out them as love and then surrounded them as love. And that helped me not worry so much about how loved are they. And then I just did a second doodle, and you can see the difference, which I think is fascinating. So I just did this second doodle after my sister-in-law died. And this is as recent as this morning. This is what I drew this morning because I thought, well, the other one was, whoops, sorry, 2 years ago. What does that look like now? So I started with 4. And what's interesting to me is I guess I'm not so worried about how loved they are. It feels a little less chaotic. And I drew the sun and the moon. That actually is the moon. And my mom and my dad loved the moon. And we would talk about the moon in the evening. And if it was a full moon, it was exciting. Oh my gosh, the moon. So what I think about with them is they are part of nature, the sun and the moon, and I appreciate someone is a little close to the sun, but that's okay. There's someone on a cloud right under the sun, and that's okay. So they are loved. So they're still on clouds. They're still represented by a heart, and then there's hearts around them, but not as frenetic, I guess you could say. And then I was thinking about how they shine. And so those are the two little things that come out from the cloud that surround the heart. And as I was drawing these out, because I wanted them to feel like they are shining now, it also occurred to me that it kind of looks like wings. Interesting. So you could think about doing some doodles. And when you do a doodle today, keep it. And then look at how your doodles evolve over time. And I think you'll find comfort in how they evolve over time. So let's do some writing. I like to write 6-word stories. If you've been to other events, we've done 6-word stories for a variety of topics and reasons. And I thought, let's do some around after caregiving. And I like 6-word stories because it really challenges me to get to my bottom line. So let's find a perspective that can help us in our life after caregiving. And let's start with priorities and thinking through when you were caring for a family member or friend, what was your bottom line priority? And I think about mine as this. And again, we're going to use 6 words. However, you can use hyphens. So if you have 10 words that describe your priority during caregiving, hyphenate some of those words, and then you've got 6 words. You can use as many hyphens as you need. My priorities during caregiving included keeping them as safe as possible. Oh, remaining patient and pleasant always. But you know what? I really was not good at that on a regular basis, but it was a priority. Doesn't mean I succeeded at it, but I tried. I tried. The other priority for me was protecting my quality of life. I didn't want to give up everything for caregiving. I wanted to make sure that I had quality of life. And I really prioritized being ready for the final declines because I knew others in the family would take their time being ready. They could take their time, but I know nature doesn't take its time when the declines start. So I really felt the priority of being ready for it without worrying about who else was ready. I was ready, so then I kept moving us forward. And it was okay that others were a little slower behind me. So think about what's your 6-word story about what was a priority for you during caregiving. You are welcome to tweak any of these 6-word stories that I've written. You can actually use them if it feels like, gosh, yeah, that was a priority for me. Or you could think of your own. And you're welcome to post in the chat room when you've got a 6-word story. Okay, I'll give you another couple seconds to keep writing. Okay, so Christina's sharing. Her 6-word story is maintain shepherd energy, not savior energy. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. Okay, so that's our first 6-word story, which is what our priority was during caregiving. And now let's think about what our priority is now that caregiving has ended. So here are mine. My health is the priority. My financial wellness matters most. My focus is my business. I treasure family relationships. Okay, you guys are doing great at posting in the chat room. Thank you so much. Okay, so Christine is sharing her 6-word story about after caregiving, which is all is well, I am free. And Colleen is sharing self-care, patience, happiness, and health. Dana is sharing safety is my main priority for both parents. Okay, keep writing. Now we're going to go to our next one. So let's think about the remainder of our year. So we're meeting together today at the end of October. So we have 2 months left in the year. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. So let's think about what's the bottom line priority for the remainder of our year. So here are a couple of mine. I swim 4 days a week. I pursue opportunities with courageous conviction. I enjoy the holiday season. And I want to share a few more 6-word stories about priorities now that caregiving is over. So Tony is sharing getting married and celebrating life daily. Dennis is sharing moving forward with purpose and service. Sandra is sharing honoring the past, living the present. Duwade is sharing, oh, I love this, I will see you once again. Colleen is sharing honest with myself of what I need. And Christine is sharing this time is meant for me. I love how much you guys are writing. This is really amazing. Susan is sharing embracing each moment. I think what's so compelling about our life after caregiving ends is we have insights and understanding about time. Because even as we understand death is coming for a family member or friend, we're preparing for it. We understand it's coming. The finality of it, I think, is still something that takes our breath away. We understand now how finite our time is. And because of that, I think we are much more compelled to make use of the time we have. I think something else too that happens during our caregiving experience, which is we understand not to wait. So when I was caring for my parents and I had an opportunity for something, I would say yes and start working on it right away. Oftentimes I'm very work focused, so that's what I would say yes to. And I would start working on it right away because I knew I had a moment to work on it right away. And I couldn't actually count on another moment later because there was always a caregiving crisis. And I think that helps us after caregiving, especially around our relationship with time. We understand not to wait. We have time now, so we act on time now. Okay, so let me share a few more. Optimistic to prioritize my aspirations. Oh, Jennifer, that's a good one. And you know what? You've got alliteration in there too. Just like, that's awesome. Dennis is sharing Enhancing new marriage relationship with love. Yeah, love that. Okay. So as we think about our 6-word stories, we then have the bottom line of our priorities. And in a caregiving situation, we might not have the time, the mental capacity to think about priorities in a clear way. And now we do. We can really think through, what's my priority now? The other thing that happens after caregiving is we have time, which we crave during caregiving. We would think, oh, if I only had time. And then we have it, and sometimes we are overwhelmed by it because we're not sure what to do with it. And if we can think through our priorities, especially as how we use time, then we take some of the overwhelm around having time. We craved it during caregiving. We have it now. Let's use it in a way that reflects the priority right now. What's great too about these 6-word stories is that we can prompt ourselves to write a 6-word story about our priorities every day. And it could be a new 6-word story every day. What was a priority yesterday might be a different priority today, and we can give ourselves permission to adjust our priorities. And what's so great about that then is that we are using time effectively, efficiently, with meaning. If I were to think about another doodle that we could start thinking about drawing, it could be the doodle around priorities. And if we have ourselves in the middle, we can doodle out our priorities for today. And then we could create a different doodle when our priorities shift. And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that priorities shift based on the time of the year. So we're moving into the holidays. A priority for us during the holidays might be taking care of our heart. And then we move into the first of the year. We might think of different priorities. And then we might have different priorities based on the day of the week. Our priorities Monday through Friday might be very different than our priorities on a Saturday or a Sunday. And if we can give ourselves the authority to change our priorities based on the season, our healing, the day of the week, the time of the day, then it's an opportunity for us to really, really be effective and efficient in how we use our time. Again, it felt elusive to us during caregiving. I wish I had more time. We have more time after caregiving. And again, that can feel overwhelming. What do I do? There's this void. How do I fill it? And if we stay clear on our priorities, we can fill our time in impactful, meaningful ways. Wow. Okay, I'm going to stop. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to tell you one thing, and then we're going to move into meaning and impact after caregiving ends with our panel discussion. I just want to let you know that our books are free on Kindle today, tomorrow, and Monday. If you are joining us live, you can download our Kindle books for free, October 25th, 26th, and 27th, including the 3rd edition, which I just released, of a book that supports you after caregiving ends. And there's a daily companion for that book, which is more of a journal. And again, both of those are free on Kindle today, tomorrow, and Monday. So I gave you some time to be able to download it. Actually, all the books that I've written are free on Kindle, so there's 16 of them. You can enjoy all of them. And before we leave today, I'll make sure that you have the link to download them. And then again on Monday, I'll send you a follow-up email with the link for the evaluation for our event today, and then the link to download these books. Okay, thanks for writing and doodling with me. I so appreciate it.